Everybody has a story, and if you let them talk, they'll tell you. Hey everybody, it's Old School Heart back with another cultural conversation for you guys. If you are not a subscriber to the channel, what are you doing? What are you waiting on? This is a channel where we discuss the most uncomfortable things, but we always try to keep an open mind. We always try to have an open discussion over here, and that's what I would like you guys to do, is to leave your comments below. Let me know how you feel, whether it agrees with my opinion or not. It's still a place of comfortability to discuss your opinions about a cultural discussion that we have here. And so if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on your notifications for these cultural conversations. So, I told you that this was going to be the year that we kept an open mind, that we had these cultural conversations about pop culture, about politics, about food, about religion. We were going to go in deep, and then we were going to do some different things. And so, guys, I promise you, I never, ever thought that I would be having a conversation about Offset. Yes, I said Offset from the Migos. Yes, y'all won, Offset. So, y'all, I was at work today, and I needed to listen to something to get the day going and to make the day go by faster. And so the Breakfast Club interview with Offset appeared on my screen. I did not want to watch this video. I don't know why, but I was like, man, I do not want to watch it. So, but I was like, I need at least 40 minutes to make the day go by faster. So I clicked on it. Now, I've had it in for the Breakfast Club for a long time because of the Kamala Harris interview that they did. And of course, the Monique debacle has pissed me off past passivity, or whatever word you want to use. It's really hard for me to like the Breakfast Club. One thing that I can give them credit for is that sometimes they have really great conversations about an artist, about their lifestyle. Sometimes they can be very, very cliche, but then there are some times where you actually can learn something from a Breakfast Club interview. So, Offset, if you don't know who Offset is, for all of my churchy people that are on my channel, Offset is a member of the Migos. He is the one who is married to Cardi B. He is our y'all one guy who pretty much said that after everybody was excited that Cardi B was about to divorce him. So, up until this point, I had no interest in Offset. I had no interest in the Migos, really. I will jam to their music every once in a while, but I have never really bought a Migos album. I don't have them on any of my playlists. I'm not saying that they're bad artists. I just am a little bit older, and so it's hard for me to relate to their music. But I will bop. I mean, they got some good bop songs. I'll bop in a second. I'm a bop. But I found this interview to be very, very, very interesting, and I see why it's at almost 1 million views. Because, like I said before, if you give a person an opportunity to speak, you will actually learn something about them. Whether you have preconceived notions, stereotypes, feelings about them, it goes out the window when you actually hear a person speak. And I will say I am guilty of prejudice. I am guilty of already having preconceived notions about what I think a person is and who I think a person is. And I'm learning, and I hope you guys are too, and I'm learning to be open-minded. I'm learning to gain from every experience. I'm learning that the generation that is after me, because I'm 7 years older than Offset, I'm learning that the generation after me has a platform, and I need to be listening to that. Me and my father always have our cultural discussions with each other. We never get on the phone with each other and just talk about mundane stuff. We always get on the phone with each other. We talk about books, we talk about politics, we talk about economics, we talk about it all. And one of the things that my dad has repeatedly said is, these younger children are my teachers. If I'm not learning from them, I'm not growing. Because as you get older, you start to become closed-minded to new ideas and to the children that are younger than you and the people that are younger to you, because you already think you know it all. And yes, you do. As you get older, you do learn from your experiences, and you watch these younger kids and you go, they don't know anything, right? And so there's nothing there for me. But when I tell you that there is something there for you, if you open your ears and you listen without judging, the things that can come out of their mouths can be the most amazing things ever. And that's what it was for me today, listening to Offset speak. What I heard was a young man who is growing in the spotlight and who is trying to change the environment and the economic status that he has once had and does not want to go back to. And so that's our cultural discussion today, is how important it is to listen to those that are younger than us, how to keep an open mind. And if you could just leave your comments down below, how do you guys do that? How do you listen when you get older? How do you stay attuned to what's new? How do you see past what you consider a young person's mistakes to be? Because I think that's what's happening. Not only is he a black male, he's a rapper. And so we already have this preconceived notion that he doesn't have anything to give us, right? Except for rap music. But I came back from that interview just feeling like, man, this young man is really out here trying. And one of the things that I thought was very interesting when looking at this Breakfast Club interview is that, number one, I did not know that he had went to jail 13 times and that he had made it in his mind that there is no future for me here. There are things that I am going to have to change in order to maintain life, in order to continue on in life. And how being in jail, and we've heard this story before, I went to jail, it changed me, jail changed me. But to hear it from somebody that's so young, and to hear him say, you know what, I made a lot of mistakes as a father, I made a lot of mistakes as a young man, and now I have the opportunity to change that. And so it is my duty as a father, as somebody who wants to be deemed responsible, to take responsibility for my actions. And so he discussed a number of things. One of them was his relationship with his father. And one of the things that he said was, I can't hold that man responsible. You know, and that's how you know somebody's growing, is when they can see somebody else's perspective. And what he said was, I have no hatred for my dad because I have no idea what his story is. I know that my story was rough at the beginning. And so I can't fault that man for anything that he's done thus far, because I know that if I made these mistakes, that if I wasn't there for my kids and I was in prison 13 times, I know whatever happened with my dad, you know, I excuse him for that, and I love him for that. And I want him to know that my arms are wide open for him, and that I love him, and that I want him to come back. And I've always seen it from that perspective. I've always seen it that every child needs their parents, both mom and dad, because you want to get to know who you are, both sides of you. And that holding on to a grudge, holding on to just this anger will not get you anywhere unless you understand perspective. And that's a whole Iyanla Vanzant moment. But you can see that there's growth in Offset when he has the ability to say things like that. One of the things that I appreciated is his growth as a father, that he recognizes how important it is to be in his children's lives. And one of the things that we don't discuss quite often is that having an economic status and moving up towards an economic status and being able to take care of your kids gets men more involved with their kids. You do have some ignorant men out here that feel as if I never wanted the kid, so I'm not taking care of the kid. Yes, you have those type of people that's around, right? And then you have people like Offset, who's decided that he wants to be active in his child's life. And a lot of that comes from being able to take responsibility. You'll see a lot of fathers that will leave and not be in their child's life because they really can't take responsibility economically. And a lot of that we would like to blame on him, right? It's his fault, right? Because, if he can't get a job and take care of his kids, it's a lot deeper than that. We know that there are things that are put in place, especially for Black men, to hinder them from making money, from supporting their family. We will support a Black woman in a minute, but a lot of our fathers will be left out in the cold. And so that causes a lot of them to leave. But we see that with Offset, even as a young man, what makes him more responsible is the fact that he can economically support them, that he can actually bring something to the table. And so I love that he showed joy in being a father and then admitting, I made mistakes. That first kid I didn't think was mine, and I was a little nervous about it, but then I wised up. And I realized, why would I want another child to go without like I went without? What type of man would I be if I did that? Another thing that he said that just was really good is they were talking about his new song, Clout, right? People do stuff for clout. And I actually like it. It's actually not a bad song. I try to listen to a little bit of the album so I could get a little bit more feel of Offset. And one of the things that he said is that I don't have no business talking. Everything is done for clout. And at this point in my life, there's nothing else to prove. And I think that is a really good lesson for people that are younger than me and even myself to realize is that I don't have anything to prove to anybody. What I have to do is maintain my family and this lifestyle that I want to create for my family. I don't have to prove anything to anybody else because what I have proved is that I work hard. What I prove is that I haven't given up. I don't owe anybody anything else. And I think that Offset is maturing to that point where he is saying, you know what? I don't owe anybody else anything. I've made a couple of albums. I sold them. I became one of the biggest rap groups ever. And that's it. So now what I do is I grow. Now what I do is I listen. And what is so crazy is as older people, we always say this. These younger people don't listen. They do not listen. But let me explain something to you. Offset was talking to DJ Envy. And DJ Envy is in the real estate and property, and he owns a couple of juice bars, I believe. And Offset said, man, you know what? I listen to you and I watch you. And, I've even called you and gotten advice on property, real estate and property and things of that nature. And so now me and Cardi, we both have property and we're trying to put our hands in different places. Don't think that these younger people are not listening. Don't think that they're not watching. They're listening and they're watching, but you have to give them the opportunity to reveal themselves to you, and you have to give them the opportunity to listen. We love to overtalk them. We love to tell them they don't know what they're talking about, but the reality is they know exactly what they're talking about. And if you are open to listening and to learning from them, they are opening to listening, not only listening to you, but actually doing what you say. And because of that, they prosper more. Because there's an exchange, right? There's an exchange of property, I believe. There's an exchange of energy. If I'm giving you the correct energy as an older person and I'm feeding into you, you can then feed into me. What I don't know about what's going on in your culture, you can explain to me, and I can keep myself current. And not only can I keep myself current, I might be able to move to another level if I pay attention to you. You know, and that's the same thing for a younger person. If you listen to me, I got some guidance for you. I got some wisdom for you. I got some things here that you may not have thought of, and I may have given you a different perspective, and now you're able to shift and move. There's a currency there. There's an exchange there that we need to take a look at. And I think this was a great opportunity for us to expand our minds past the idea of this young man being a rapper, the whole cliche, diamonds, cars, all of this stuff that we see, and we look at the person. And beyond that exterior and that made up persona that Offset has, is a man who's trying not to make the same mistakes that he's made once before, who's trying to provide for his family, who's trying to love on his wife. Yeah, he made mistakes. We made jokes about it, right? We said what we said about him, but at the end of the day, what I learned from him is that he's got a lot of growing to do. We need to give a lot more of these young men credit. Yes, we can give them constructive criticism when they're making mistakes, but we also need to hear them out. Why are you making this mistake? Why are you doing this? Who told you that this was the right way to do things? And I think when we come from that perspective, instead of the prejudice that we have, I think it'll open a lot of opportunities for both of us to grow. And so if you have not looked at this Breakfast Club interview, go back and take a look at this interview. There was a lot of meat there. Bypass all of the silly questions that sometimes the Breakfast Club can ask. Of course, they can be very stereotypical. But I believe this just gave me another perspective that sometimes I need to stop it with the prejudice. I need to stop it with these preconceived notions that I have about these rappers, that I have about these people. At the end of the day, they are just like me. They're going from one status to another, and they're having to understand the difficulties of that with the mindset that they had from the beginning. That it's different over there than it is over here. But my mind hasn't changed yet, so my mind has to catch up. And that's where Offset is. His mind has to catch up. So let's have that discussion. What are you learning from a younger person? Who are you investing in? And what younger person is investing in you? Who are you talking to? Who are you having conversations with? So that's our cultural conversation today. Please leave your comments down below. I want to hear what you have to say. Please go, like I said, and watch the Breakfast Club interview. I'll leave the link below. Thank you for watching. Please share this video as well. This is Old School Heart. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, guys.